At approximately 16:30 on 10 November, the remote monitoring equipment at Coast Guard Station Sault Ste. Marie indicated that the light and radio beacon at Whitefish Point were inoperative. Several attempts were made to restore the Whitefish Point navigational aids using the remote controls on the monitoring equipment. These attempts were unsuccessful. A repairman was sent to Whitefish Point. Conclusion number 13. It is concluded that the outages of Whitefish Point light and radio beacon did not contribute to the casualty.
It was clear throughout the investigation that the Coast Guard and the company that owned the pits were after the same thing. An act of God. Something that couldn't be helped. Something that placed no one at fault. A finding of negligence on the part of the Coast Guard could be embarrassing. A finding of negligence on the part of the company could lead to lawsuits by the families of the crew. This could be catastrophic.
The National Transportation Safety Board investigation.
Rear Admiral Barrow.
Captain Zabinski.
Thomas Murphy, Ogilvy Norton Company, attorney at law.
Name.
Captain Delmore Webster.
Captain Webster, you were at one time an officer on the Fitzgerald, is that correct?
That's correct.
You served under Captain McSorley on several occasions, did you not?
That is correct.
Captain Webster, would you tell the board how often lifeboat drills were held on the Fitzgerald?
We had boat drills once a week. It was noted in the log.
Thank you, Captain Webster. That will be all.
So my brother was in Africa.
I feel the story.
He was in Africa on a safari.
He's from Bismarck.
What's that mean?
How's he get the idea?
What?
The idea.
Oh, he saw a brochure.
Name.
First Mate Gerald Lang, retired.
So he's in Africa in this remote little village.
Mr. Lang, you were at one time an officer on the Fitzgerald, is that correct?
Yes.
This village is right on the equator.
How do you know it's right on the equator?
That's the story.
Knew I felt a story.
You served under Captain McSorley on several occasions, did you not?
Yes.
So there's a man in this village who greets the tourists as they arrive.
A native.
A native, black man, skinny, yellow teeth, cobweb lines around the eyes. The tourists asked how near they are to the equator.
There's not a sign.
No.
Mr. Lang, would you tell the board how often lifeboat drills were held on the Fitzgerald?
We had weekly drills, and these drills were so noted in the pilot house log.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. That will be all.
The man answers the tourist by drawing a line in the dirt with his foot. He looks at them, he points to the line.
The equator.
I don't believe it.
Neither did they.
Name.
Thomas E. Garcia.
The man points to two wooden posts, one a few yards to his left, one a few yards to his right. The man walks to the post on his left. The tourists follow.
Mr. Garcia, you were at one time a crewman on the Fitzgerald, is that correct?
That's right.
Hanging from the post is a large plastic bucket. In the bottom of the bucket is a small hole, about the size of a pencil.
You served under Captain McSorley, did you not?
What's the bucket for?
The man pours a jug of water into the bucket. The water drains slowly out of the hole in the bottom.
Mr. Garcia?
The man crumbles some dried leaves and drops them in the water so the tourists can see the motion of the water as it drains.
Did you hear the question?
Yes.
The water is spinning clockwise as it drains.
Of course it is.
Hope they didn't pay for this.
Did you serve under Captain McSorley?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia, would you tell the board how often lifeboat drills were held on the Fitzgerald?
Never.
Never?
Yes, sir.
None at all?
No, sir.
Mr. Garcia, let me...
There were none.
Thank you. That will be all.
The man walks over about 10 yards to the post on his right. The tourists follow. On this post is another plastic bucket with a small hole in the bottom. The man pours a jug of water into the bucket and drops the leaves in the water like before.
Yeah?
The tourists watch the water.
Yeah, so?
The water in this bucket is spinning counterclockwise as it drains.
Wait.
How far apart?
10 yards.
It's a trick.
Name.
John H. Larson.
Listen now. The man walks back to the line he made in the dirt. The line exactly halfway between the two posts.
Mr. Larson, you were at one time a crewman on the Fitzgerald, is that correct?
I was.
He points to the line. The tourists watch.
You served under Captain McSorley, did you not?
I did.
The man holds a bucket directly over the line. He pours water into the bucket. He drops leaves in the water, like before.
Mr. Larson, would you tell the board how often lifeboat drills were held on the Fitzgerald?
The water begins to drain. It does not spin at all.
How often, Mr. Larson?
It goes straight down.
I wouldn't say he never had a drill,
It does not hesitate.
but I can't say how often he had one.
That's bullshit.
Straight down.
Jesus!
Your brother saw this?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was once a month. He did not have them that often.
Thank you.
He did not have them regularly.
That will be all.
The man with the cobweb eyes pointed to the line in the dirt, then turned and walked away.
Mr. Hilson, go on.
Mr. Hilson, you indicated that the lifeboat station was the #1 boat. Was that on the port or starboard side?
There again, I can't be specific. I always get that mixed up.
Mr. Hilson, who are you kidding? Any boat you were ever on, how many ships did you say you were on?
About 25?
Every ship you were ever on. Boat 1 was on one side and boat 2 was on the other side. Don't try to kid me.
I'm not.
Don't tell me you were on 25 ships and you don't know where the #1 boat is. This is a very serious matter here, and you have been evasive on every answer you have given, and I'm fed up. Now you answer. What side is the #1 boat on?
Port side.
Are you sure of that?
No, sir, I'm not.
You're damn right you're not. You're not sure about anything. I don't know where you got your lifeboat certificate, but I will be darned if I don't check up on it. Who are you kidding? What boats were you on? You say you've been sailing since '64. What boats have you been on since '64?
Well, we'll go back to the Fitzgerald, and before that I was on the Math Yacht, and I've been on the Armco. I've been on a number of them.
Mr. Hilson, I am not going to dignify you by asking you any more questions.
As closely as I can tell, when you first started testifying, you said you can't recall any boat drills being held on the Fitzgerald. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I have testimony here taken just yesterday from 2 people. In that testimony, it was stated by one person, we had boat drills once a week. It was noted in the log in describing the boat drill. And another witness, we had weekly drills, and these drills were so noted in the pilot house log. Both stated that in testimony under oath. You testified here that you had no boat drills on the Fitzgerald.
None that I can recall.
You persist in that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I just want to say that I'm as concerned about this as you are. I want to say, for the record, that the entire testimony as it has come in today is just as much a surprise to the company as it is to the board. We are just as concerned at getting to the bottom of it as the board is. Now, Mr. Hilson, do you say on oath that you never had a boat drill during the period you were on board the Fitzgerald with Captain McSorley? Are you telling these people that?
As I said before, I can't recall. I can't say that there never was one held, but as far as I can recall, there were none.
But you are saying then that they were not held on a regular basis. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's true.
And you are saying that under oath?
I am saying that.
Do you have anything further to add to your testimony?
Well, I apologize for any shortcoming I may have shown here. I've tried to be helpful.
I think the point, Mr. Hilson, is that you have qualified everything you have said before this board by you can't remember or you can't recall. Just about everything you have said.
So, the former officers said drills were held, and the former crewmen said they were not. When the casualty report was released, it read, lifeboat drills were held on the Fitzgerald during the 1975 season, but were not held on a regular basis as required by regulations. The present requirement for posting a placard containing life raft launching instructions is not considered sufficient to train crew members in the proper use of this primary life-saving equipment.
It went straight down.
When asked about the use of lifeboats and life rafts, a former captain said, if I was going down, I'd crawl in my bunk and I'd pull the covers over my head.
I have all these strings attached to my fingers. When I was a child of 6, obese from the constant consumption of big hunk candy bars, a mystery began to develop. There in the safety of our split-level suburban home, a force was at work. a force both deadly and invisible. The evidence was irrefutable. Our TV trays were missing. The TV trays, 4 of them, that always leaned against the inside right wall of the coat closet, immediately behind my father's beige trench coat with the imitation rabbit fur collar that he had never worn. The TV trays that, when wiped down with a warm rag, became Thanksgiving tables for me, my sister, my Uncle Dave, the chimney sweep, and my cousins, Edward and Thomas. The TV trays that, when strategically placed and covered with a large blanket, became a fort inside which pacts were made that affected our lives greatly, until the rain stopped. The TV trays that were always, always there. It was a Tuesday evening when my mother asked me to get out the TV trays so we could all eat our soup in the family room and watch Red Skelton. I turned the knob. The closet had not been disturbed. The jigsaw puzzles on winter scarves on the single shelf. The coats like hopes hung from the metal bar. My secret stash of big hunk bars in the vest pocket of my father's trench coat. I reached behind the coat for the familiar cool metal feel of the white trays with their waves of grain pattern. Missing. Gone. My father turned off Red Skelton for the first time I could remember. The house, yard, and garage were searched. Neighbors and friends were called. We had not lent them out. We had not sold them at our garage sale. My sister remembered seeing them in the closet only the day before, which was of little help other than explaining the occasional disappearance of my big hunk bars. My father sat us on the floor, looked in our eyes, and said the only words of his that I have never forgotten. Things just don't disappear. Something takes them. To this day, I tie a string around everything I value. I have all these strings attached to my fingers.
Someone please pick up the phone that's on the other end. There once was a captain and a little cadet with a smile you bet, and he huffed and he puffed on a cigarette and tried to look so brave. There once was a captain and a little cadet, Once was a captain and a little cadet with a smile you bet. And he huffed and he puffed on a cigarette and tried to look so brave.
9 November 1913.
The storm, which has come to be known as the most destructive ever on the lakes.
On Superior, 2 ships and 57 men lost.
The Harmonic and the Cornell.
On Huron, every one of the 18 ships on the lake was wrecked.
The Wexford, the Hydrus, the Regina, the Argus.
8 were lost completely, as were their 178 crewmen. The total was 25 ships driven ashore.
The John A. McGean, the Isaac M. Scott, the Charles S. Price.
10 ships sunk.
The James C. Carruthers.
273 lives lost.
As the bodies began to drift ashore, many frozen together in clusters of ice, they were collected, put on wagons, and driven to furniture stores, which had been converted to funeral homes.
Oddly enough, many bodies washed up wearing life preservers from ships they had not been on.
A young sailor had transferred from the sunken James C. Carruthers without notifying his family. He arrived in his hometown as his own funeral was in progress.
Of the 200 or so corpses, 4 were left unclaimed. They were buried with a single tombstone.
The tombstone was engraved with one word.
Sailors.
16 September 1679.
At a shipyard near Niagara, established by the Franciscan friar Louis Hennepin, a 60-foot boat,
The Griffin,
was christened and launched.
Its captain was the French explorer René Robert Cavalet, Sieur de La Salle.
Its cargo was trinkets, which were to be traded for furs.
When first put onto the water, La Salle is reported to have said,
High above the black crows shall the gallant Griffin soar.
To the amazement of the Iroquois, who had chosen never to tempt the dangerous midsection of the lake, the Griffin sailed away.
Its trip across Erie was serene.
However, it encountered a storm on Huron. Its crew, having never seen a storm of such magnitude, fell to their knees and prayed.
Monsieur Lucas, the Griffin's pilot, and a former ocean navigator, screamed at La Salle.
You have brought me to meet my death on a nasty lake instead of honorably on the ocean.
Suddenly, the storm ceased.
The Griffin arrived safely in Green Bay, loaded a fortune in furs, and prepared for the trip back to Niagara.
La Salle, having conquered the Great Lakes, said goodbye to his men and remained behind to search for the headwaters of the Mississippi.
The Griffin sailed back across Huron,
thereby being the first attempt to transport cargo across the Great Lakes.
And when I jumped in, I thought I was in the forefoot, but I wasn't. I was in the deep end, and my head filled with chlorine, and my feet looked so white, and my body hit the bottom where a black line was painted, and everything seemed curved. My dad pulled me out and laid me on a towel and walked up to the lifeguard, who was still talking and laughing with his girlfriend, and punched him right in the face. As I lay there choking up water with my dad holding my head, and all these people staring down.
26 November 1966. The 660-foot Daniel J. Morrell was 60 years old. It was built of steel that had not been used since 1948 because it was discovered to be highly brittle at temperatures below the freezing point. As the Morrell was completing its final trip of the season, they were contacted by the Cleveland headquarters of the Bethlehem Steel Corporation.
We have failed to meet our yearly tonnage requirements. An additional trip is necessary. We regret this change in plans.
This meant another trip across Huron and Superior to Taconite Harbor, Minnesota. With winds on Huron at 65 knots and waves at 25 feet, the 60-year-old Daniel J. Morale began to break in half. Its steel plates began to scream as they gave way to the water.
The deck watchman, 26, stood on the deck of the rear portion of the boat with 12 other men. Having been awakened by emergency alarm in the middle of the night, none of the men were fully clothed. They were congregated around a single lifeboat. They had decided not to try to throw the boat overboard and jump into it. Instead, they would ride the sinking ship down into the lake until the lifeboat met the waterline.
Standing there in the freezing rain, the men watched as the front half of the boat completely severed itself from the rear, but it did not sink. It floated lifelessly as the rear section, still under power, forged ahead, pushing the front section out of its way. The men watched as the front half of the boat completely reversed direction in the high seas and sailed back past them into the night, lights still blazing.
The men waited now for the gaping hole left in the center of the boat to fill with water and take them down. Instead, a 30-foot wave washed the men and the lifeboat overboard in an instant. Of the 13, 4 men, including the deck watchman, found their way to the surface and into the lifeboat.
They floated all night in the frigid water.
They fired flares, which were never seen.
The deck watchman rummaged through the lifeboat for a can of oil that he intended to smear on his naked legs to protect them from the cold. One of the other men, thinking it was unimportant, had thrown the oil overboard.
The lifeboat fought the waves all night.
2 men died before dawn.
A third died the following afternoon.
As the boat continued to drift, the deck watchman piled their corpses on himself for warmth.
At 4 in the afternoon, after 15 hours in the water, a Coast Guard helicopter spotted 3 bodies frozen, drifting in a lifeboat.
As the bodies were untangled, the deck watchman was discovered beneath them.
Frostbitten and in shock, he reached an arm into the air for aid.
He was 26 and he didn't panic.
Not until the Morel was a full 36 hours overdue did the Bethlehem Steel Company contact the Coast Guard.
Sioux Control, our ship, the Daniel J. Morel, is a bit late arriving at the Sioux Locks. We have yet to meet our tonnage requirements. Could you make some calls?
The sailors worked the boats well into November.
I was hanging a picture in the living room when the phone rang. My sister had seen a news flash on TV. A ship was missing on Superior. She said that it was my husband's ship.
Years ago, when we were first married, he was shingling the roof and he fell. "I'm fine," he said. "It's a bump." I hated him when he was stubborn, and he was stubborn a lot. He couldn't abide being cared for. "I'm fine, it's a bump. Let me lay down." Somehow, I drug him to the hospital. All the way in the car, I had to listen to his tough stories about falling from this and being hit by that, and hell, this is just a bump. It was a concussion. They told me to give him some pills, and they told me to keep him awake. No sleep, they said. Right, I said. Teach a mule to tap dance. No problem.
I called the TV station and they confirmed the report. The local radio station confirmed it too. They said they'd announce any further developments. I looked at the nail that I'd driven into the wall. A missing ship was not uncommon. Often in bad weather, a ship would alter its course and wait out a storm near Isle Royal or some other protected spot. Or there'd be a radar malfunction, a radio gone haywire, and the ship's position would be unknown for a few hours. Eventually, the ship would contact the Coast Guard, reestablish its course, and the announcement would be withdrawn. I stood listening to my radio. There hadn't been a loss on Superior in 22 years. I guess we got complacent, or worse, brave. I looked at the nail I'd driven. I picked up the picture. I hung the picture on the wall. I stepped back from the wall. A Bob Dylan song. The picture is not straight. I step forward, straighten it, step back. It's not straight. I step forward, straighten it, step back. No further developments. I stare at the picture. I don't remember now what it was even a picture of. I just remember that it was never straight. An hour went by. I kept tilting it, slightly to the left, slightly to the right, stepping back, stepping forward. Another hour. Another damn Dylan song. My cheeks are wet. No further developments. I'm singing with the radio now. I'm inventing words. I'm driving nails into the wall, sobbing and singing, straightening this damn picture. The station goes off the air. The TV is snow. I turn off the light. I sit on the floor. In the darkness, I stare at the picture on the wall.
I'm not a good widow. I don't want to be. I am not going to walk around this town being noble and strong. A company lets a ship sail in the most dangerous months on the lakes, knowing it needs repairs. And for the sake of profits, its minimum freeboard is decreased, so that in 1975, it's carrying several hundred more tons of cargo than was considered safe than when it was built. And for their part, the Coast Guard offers a non-functioning lighthouse and a rescue ship that is 24 hours away. Reporters stand on my lawn. When I go out to get the paper, they shove microphones and cameras in my face. They ask me how it feels. And then the phone rings late at night, and I exchange one nightmare for another. A man with a soft voice. Your husband owed me $1,000 that he never paid back. You don't want me to spread rumors about him and give him a bad name. A woman's voice. Your husband was sleeping with a woman in Detroit. Give me $3,000, or I'll tell your kids. Blackmail and blind rage. I can't be graceful about that. I can't watch another flower thrown on the water. My heart went down with that ship.
So I held his head in my lap and kept him awake. He grumbled and bitched. I told him all the things about my life that I would change. For my benefit, he tried to complain about working on the lakes. I didn't buy it. Sometimes I thought the only way to keep that man home was to toss water on the house and shake it. I told him all the things I do when he's gone, my little rituals. Sometimes his eyes would start to close, so I'd start to lie. He'd stay awake to keep me honest. He told me his favorite part of the year was Halloween to Thanksgiving. I held his head for hours. When I had run out of stories and jokes and lies and possible names for all our possible children and pets, he put his finger on my lips. Honey, I'm fine. Let me sleep. I remember it as one of my favorite nights.
It's like falling asleep.
How?
Well, that's what it's like.
How is it like falling asleep?
It's like the sensation of falling asleep.
Yeah?
There's no pain.
Wish Bishop was here. He's got an ulcer.
What, and I don't?
He couldn't make the trip. Let it go.
What time is it?
7:15.
So I'm having breakfast with my wife this morning. Eggs, cornflakes, English muffin with peanut butter, nothing special, just breakfast.
Anyone seen the cadet?
No.
And I got a pack of matches from the Chinese lantern in my shirt pocket.
I can't believe there's no pain.
My wife's telling me about some movie she wants to see with what's-his-name in it, and I'm slapping peanut butter on my muffin, and the matches in my pocket ignite.
There is a momentary panic.
The two of us are sitting there staring at my shirt.
Then peace.
My goddamn shirt is smoldering. I rip it off and toss it in the sink. My egg is cold now. I take out the charred matchbook and examine it.
I don't get the big deal about fog.
Every match is burned except one.
It's just light. You know, thick light.
How would that happen? What would ignite it?
Aliens. Your breath.
I'm serious.
So are we.
IE or EI?
What?
Is it IE or EI?
Me?
The cadet.
Oh.
I don't get that.
EI.
Spelled it wrong.
Bishop and I had some great fights.
He didn't make the trip.
I know that.
Let it go.
I'm just talking.
You mail your car payment?
Shit.
Yeah, me too.
This one says we're bound for Gary.
The Anderson was bound for Gary.
Says we were too.
Toss it.
It's a joy to fight with someone.
Detroit.
It's a rush.
Bound for Detroit.
It reaffirms control.
This momentary panic.
Yeah?
How momentary?
Fleeting. Seductive.
What time is it?
It courts you.
7:15.
Anyone seen the cadet?
Okay, now, after the momentary panic?
It's a gift to get angry.
Then peace.
That's where you lose me.
It's a joy to push what can be pushed.
The chemical makeup of hemoglobin is almost identical to that of seawater.
We got pie tonight?
I'm through with pies.
It is familiar to the body.
We need the conflict.
What is he saying?
The violence we inflict on one another is in direct proportion to the violence nature inflicts on us.
Your Chevy still for sale?
We affect what we can affect.
Yeah.
And pray to be spared the rest.
Automatic or stick?
So I was walking in the tunnel tonight.
Stick.
The tunnel under the spar deck. I was coming to the pilot house from the rear deck house, and I see the door at the other end of the tunnel, 500 feet away.
Listen to this.
And as we fight this storm, the ship begins to bend. I see the door at the far end of the tunnel just rise up and go out of sight.
Jesus.
Front page, the New York Times, 11 November 1975. Ship lost with 29 in Lake Superior. Lifeboats, but no survivors of the ore carrier found. Waves 20 feet high.
There a picture?
An old one.
Commander Charles Mildred, supervisor of the Coast Guard search, said today that the chances of finding any survivors from the craft, the Edmund Fitzgerald, were, quote, pretty hopeless, unquote.
Time?
7:15.
Whenever we get a tremendous northwest winds in November, Commander Mildred said, we get a major disaster.
And through the years, without knowing it, my fear of the pool became my fascination. And years later, when working on the lake boats, the story would drift back to me, and I'd remember.
Gentlemen, the New York Times.
I am surrounded by water, and it is magnificent. It is within me and without me. I inhale it, and it fills me like pure oxygen. My heart pumps water, my arteries flood. I hear waves crash against bone. I am not frightened, and I do not struggle. I move with a grace that I'm unaccustomed to when I walk in huge strides towards the horizon. And when I wake, I'm breathing air, and it's disappointing. The land, it's so clumsy and so shallow.
All of your jollies, all your jolly young laddies, all of your summer and winter daddies free, all of your dairy and your dashing young skippers, widows of the water, where can they be?
On a beach near Copper Mine Point, one additional life vest washed up on 20 April 1976, 5 months after the Fitzgerald was lost. The final casualty report absolved the company, the Coast Guard, and the captain of the Fitzgerald of any and all wrongdoing. After the search was officially called off, the Coast Guard sent a plane to fly over the area once an hour.
Water makes many beds for those adverse to sleep.
This was amended to once every day.
Its awful chamber open stands, its curtain blandly sweeps.
Then once a week.
Abhorrent is the rest in undulating rooms.
Then once a month.
Whose amplitude no end invades.
No further action was taken.
Whose axis never comes.
And the case was closed.
All of your sailing and your sailing sailors, all of your jackdaw boys, mariners so free, all of their faces with their rocky cheeks so rosy, widows of the
The legend lives on from the Chilwell down, the big lake they call Gitchigami. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead, and the skies in November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. The good ship and crew was about to be chewed when the gales of November came early. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, with a crew and good captain well seasoned. Concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms, they left fully loaded for Cleveland. And later that night when the ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling? The wind in the wires made a telltale sound. The waves broke over the railing, and every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November came stealing. The dawn came late and the breakfast had to wait. The gales of November came slashing. The afternoon came, it was freezing rain, the face of the hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck, saying, "Fellas, it's too rough to feed you." At 7 p.m. it grew dark, and then he said, "Fellas, it's been good to know ya." The captain wired in, he had water coming in. The good ship and crew is in peril. But later that night when the lights went out of sight, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes? The waves turn the minutes to hours. The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay. They put 15 more miles behind her. They may have split up or they may have capsized. They may have broke deep into the water. But all that remains are the faces and the names, the wives and the sons and the daughters. Lake Huron rolls and Superior sings in the rooms of her ice water mansion. Old Michigan seems like a young man's dreams. The islands and the bays are for sportsmen. Farther below Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. The iron boats glow as the mariners all know the gales of November remember. Rustic old hall in Detroit they prayed, the Maritime Sailors' Cathedral. The church bell chimed till it rang 29 times. For each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald